Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. It is late Monday night, and we're here today to talk about a little game, I should say actually a big game. I mean scale. Potentially it could sell well, but we don't really know. But one thing that we do know is it is going to be pretty large in scale. A game called Steep. That is completely unexpected in my mind. This is the last thing I expected Ubisoft to develop, and the last thing I expected Ubisoft Annecy to develop, which is a team that most recently helped work on The Division. They're now making Steep, which is an open-world, winter-focused action sports experience. It's going to take place in parts of the Alps and parts of Alaska. The gameplay you guys are seeing today is specifically focused in the open world that exists in the Alps. It has 4 disciplines: skiing, wingsuiting, snowboarding, and paragliding. You can play it alone, you can play it with friends. There's a lot of social connectivity that is being implemented into the game, and it looks absolutely wonderful. Like the sort of just cheerful, wonderful that I like from games like this. Now, the big draw for me when it comes to Steep is the fact that I grew up, actually, a large chunk of my time playing video games, pretty much from day one on the NES, moving to the N64, the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and into today, was spent playing games in the same vein as Steep. So action sports games, either in a linear setting or in a more open world setting. So let's go back to the beginning. Motocross Madness, on the PC, which did have those open world free roam maps that were so fun to just thrash your motorcycle about, and everybody remembers driving to the edge of the map just to have their player cannonballed back into the middle, getting back on the motorcycle, finding that big huge jump to try and land. It was just so freeform, and it was incredibly enjoyable, and to me it was very zen. I've always appreciated that about those open world action sports types games. Then I saw 1080 snowboarding, Cool Boarders, Snowboard Kids, PlayStation 1 and N64 games. Dave Mirra's Pro BMX, Matt Hoffman would come out with the game. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater obviously would be a big thing at one point. There was plenty of snowboarding games along the way. Transworld Snowboarding, Amped. More recently, Sean Murray's Snowboarding, which wasn't incredibly perfect, but it was still a lot of fun, and I still played the hell out of it. And now, Steep. There's also one other game called Snow. Stick around, we'll talk about at the end, and I'll also tell you how you guys can actually play that game right now, because it exists, and it's actually free to play. But let's get back to Steep. So the draw for all those games for me, as I said, is just, pretty much just playing the game how I want to play it. Yeah, I know some of them are more racing focused, but even then, there was always just kind of like a social aspect that I remember having with my friends, going back, looking at stuff like, 1080 snowboarding was just a pass the controller game. Like, who can get the best time on, Funky Town, or on this level in Snowboard Kids, or in Cool Boarders, who can do the biggest spin off this particular jump. We would just pass the controller and pretty much disobey the rules that the game had set for us, and just do our own thing. And that became more of a reality with games like Motocross Madness, and then eventually I think the big one was MX Unleashed, where they gave us those huge free roam areas and these crazy toolboxes. Like, here's a monster truck and a helicopter and a dirt bike. Put them together and what do you get? A helicopter being jumped over by a monster truck while a dirt bike wheelies underneath. Like, you would spend hours setting that stuff up in your head and then trying to execute it to perfection just to see it happen on the screen. This is well before people were sharing stuff on YouTube. This was well before you could share things via social media. We were just doing it to get a wow out of everybody else in the living room at that point in time. Now flash forward, and Annecy's developing this game, utilizing all the technology that we have. The ability to share gameplay clips with one another, to invite your friends to, try and complete a line that you just completed in this massive open world sandbox where potentially they could never even go over that line because the game's so big. These things have me very excited. I love games like this. I love the experiences that they offer, and even more, I love sharing them with my friends. So one of the big things that they're focusing on here, obviously, as I said, those 4 disciplines and the ability to swap between them at any point in time. Now, you can play the game alone, or you could wingsuit with your friends. You could snowboard while one of your friends wingsuits. It doesn't matter. You can mix and match to your heart's content, exploring the Alps and eventually Alaska in the full game. It's just like the MX Unleashed setting now. Okay, you've got a monster truck and a helicopter and a dirt bike. Well, now you've got a snowboarder, a skier, a paraglider, and a wingsuit. What can we make happen here? Let's put this together, guys. I think I know a perfect place in the mountain. Like, I'm already envisioning it in my head. I'm so stoked about it. I really can't wait to get my hands on this game and actually play it. What I was saying, though, about sharing, basically, the game lets you make a replay at any point in time without ever leaving the game world or pausing or having to like look at a massive replay of your session. You simply complete a line, like they showcased in the video at one point. A guy does a double backflip on his skis over a huge rock section, lands it, one of his friends beefs, which we'll talk about a little bit later because I think the crashing is absolutely wonderfully represented and there's quite a bit of comedy to it. I can only imagine the crash montages that are going to be on YouTube after this game comes out. Anyways, he nails it, stops his skis, and then pulls out into this giant mountain view, as they call it. Being able to see the entire mountain, like, you know, in real game. It's not like a map. You can see it all. You can zoom back in, and then you can rewind. You can rewind the exact line you just took. You can see it like a trail of breadcrumbs. You can slow-mo it. You can, you know, change the perspective of some of your friends who are in the same area. You can watch that guy crash in the most exaggerated slow-motion thing you've ever done just to hear him go, oh, and then hear his bones break. Or you could be the guy in the paraglide who rewinds because he wants to catch that perfect angle of his friend on the snowboard, nailing that perfect gap. Now, here's the thing I really like. You know, that instant ability to share it with your friends, to create a clip, you know, a small clip. I'm not just talking about for YouTube. You know, sometimes it's easy to get stuck in the idea of, well, for YouTube, no. That's going to be great. I imagine people are going to make crazy videos. But I'm thinking of the scenario like this. It's Saturday night. I come home from work. I'm going to play some Steep. I'm just going to go out and free ride on my snowboard for a little bit. I find this incredible line on a whim, and I nail like a huge triple flip off of it. Land it. Okay, boom. You know what? My buddy Other Tony, let's get Other Tony, dude. I'm going to send him the clip of this, and then I'm going to share that line with him, because you can actually share that line as a challenge then. He can go back and complete that line, and maybe he doesn't even care about the challenge. He's just going to try and do something that looks sicker over the same gap that I did, and then he's going to send me back the video. I love that sort of, you know, that shared experience that you can have even when you're not playing the game together. And of course, it's great if on Sunday we both have off work and we can actually get together and play Steep together. All of those social interactions, those opportunities to create stupid fun moments that are purely driven by entertainment, I am an absolute sucker for them. And it looks like Steep's going to have those in handfuls, just everywhere. Huge, insane looking open world. If it's as big as it actually looks, there's going to be plenty of stuff to check out, plenty of fresh powder to carve, plenty of skies to blast through on your wingsuit, and plenty of buildings to crash into. And that is something I hope you guys notice. I would go watch this trailer in your own time. I'll have it linked down in the description below. They really focus on, like, when somebody's about to wreck, they scream, you hear bones crunching, and it has a lot of comedic value to it that I actually really appreciate. I think those moments in games like this where you're blasting alongside of a friend, and I remember doing stuff like this with my brother in the MX games back in the day. You know, just racing as fast as you can through the trees, and then one person wrecks, and there was always that bit of comedy to see somebody just quickly, you know, disappear from your line of sight. So I like that they're doing that. The game really does look incredible. It looks absolutely stunning from a visual perspective. Hopefully it looks as good as it does in that video, if not better, when I actually play it on my PC or on my Xbox One or wherever I decide to play this thing. It is actually going to be releasing right this year. At least that's what they have set. There could be delays, you know how that goes, but right now it's set for December 2016. No exact release date on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. If you're interested in possibly getting into one of the beta tests, you can go ahead and register and sign up on the website. I will have that linked down in the description below. If you have any interest in this game, I strongly recommend doing that. You can select your platform, and then just go ahead and sign up, and maybe you'll get invited sometime later this year. Happy to see them beta testing it. I think beta tests are smart, as I've said so many times before. You know, I think Ubisoft needs to beta test just for the sort of, not even the actual benefits, but I think the way that the consumer perceives Ubisoft at this point. Beta testing definitely helps them clean up their image a little bit more, even though people can't really wrap their head around all the different studios that are behind Ubisoft. You know, and I'm sorry, but Ubisoft can't ever expect anyone to do that, and no one else on the internet should. You know, as a consumer, you play games. It's made by a company called Ubisoft and published by a company, you know, called Ubisoft. Most people don't know the difference between Annecy and Montreal and Paris and so on and so forth. The game's got a lot of promise. It looks incredible. Like I said, I hope what we saw in the 7-minute gameplay video is exactly what the game's going to have to offer. And I mean that in terms of the tool sets. I hope none of that stuff gets cut, because everything they showed off, the, you know, instant rewind function, Obviously, the ability to jump in and jump out with your friends, all of that stuff to me is what kind of makes the game look really incredible. Let me know what you guys think about it. Is this something that's in your ballpark? Is it kind of, you know, not really something that you're interested in, just not your type of game? Did you grow up playing the games that I mentioned and you do totally connect with this? Please, I need to have that moment of connection with some of you guys out there. Throw your comments down in the comment section below. And last, as I said, I do want to recommend that you check out a game called Snow. It's an open world type snowboarding / skiing game that also has snowmobiles now. I haven't actually checked out that update, but I think I'm going to later tonight while this video is uploading. And it's completely free to play. The game was in early access on Steam at one point. It had some issues in development. I remember actually there was a good month plus where the game had no audio. It's a really small indie team, but the game is completely free to play. And if Steep has you itching to play a great, you know, sort of action-oriented winter sports game, Snow is there. I think it is definitely a pretty solid experience, and as I said, it's not going to cost you a dime to check it out for yourself. Hit the link down in the description below. It's about a 6 GB download. Give it a go. Come back here. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of Steep. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's super late. I had planned to do a lot more videos after work today, but I got home at like 9. It's now going on 1 o'clock in the morning. I am exhausted. I have next to no energy. So expect more coverage from me for other Ubisoft games. I think I want to look at Microsoft and their announcement of the Scorpio project, and also get in some Overwatch stuff. It's going to be a crazy, crazy week. Please go ahead and follow me on Twitter at TonyMo034. I'm doing a lot of polls to get people to help me decide what videos I put out first, you know, to kind of just put out the stuff that you guys would like to see. Sometimes it's nice to have influence. I know the videos I want to make, but you can help me decide which ones I finish and put up first. Thank you once again so much for watching. Have a great night, and I'll see you in the next one.